Reactors Summit, where we talk about all things Schmoedown. We've had a couple weeks off due to work schedules and family schedules and all kinds of stuff. But we're back talking about some really great matches. Honestly, one of these could have easily been the final match of the tournament, and it would have felt amazing. And the other one was just really a fun kind of back and forth match that I enjoyed quite a bit. You'll have to see which one. We're joined by Vin Diesel. What a surprise. But other than that, we have a great panel of guests to talk about these matches. We've got Malcolm Lay, as always, joining us. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Not in my usual spot for today. I thought move it away around.
Well, you joined last. Oh no, because Doug dropped, so you should be in the same spot as normal. It's Matt's fault. That's what's happening. I mean, Vin Diesel's fault. Also joining us is Doug, not Paul, as I have changed Paul into someone else now. So
yeah, now Paul is somebody completely different.
It's true.
I sounded like a chipmunk. I backed out. I sound still like a more sick chipmunk. But yeah, no, it's okay. I enjoy sounding like a chipmunk. I'm half related, I guess, in some way.
I don't know how you can be half related to a chipmunk, but also joining us, but probably not for the whole show, because I think there's things he's got to do, is Vin Diesel, I guess. How are you?
It's good. I haven't been on in a while, Kristen, but you know what? I said, this is my family. I haven't seen my family. This is like, a holiday. What do? Family. Today, guys, it's Columbus Day, Indigenous People Day. It's a holiday, so I'm visiting my family. Now I'm busy working on Fast and Furious 9. I don't know if you heard, but me and The Rock, we're family again. But I swear to God, that motherfucker tries to take this serious from me again. I will knock his fucking dick off. But
all right,
we're family. I just wanted to stop by and remind you all I'm still part of your family, even though you took away my segment. I'm very upset about that.
Okay. I mean, it wasn't Vin Diesel's segment. Well, I guess it was at the end.
What? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be mean to my family, but you really wanted the guy who lived in a closet to keep doing that segment, or Vin Diesel?
Okay.
I'm sorry. The fact that you have to sit here and question that. I make money. He lives in a cut. You know what? Never mind. It's all good. We're family. I get it. That little piece of shit, Biddy. He's your family too. He's kind of like.
Is he though? I mean,
I don't know. It's your family. He's definitely not my family. That's for certain. I just wanted to say, everybody, have fun with the Schmoedown. It's amazing. It's a big family. And remember, Fate of the Furious is available on Blu-ray, DVD, and now 4K. So you can see me. I'm really ripped. I am Groot. All right, goodbye, my family.
Riveting stuff here, guys. Matt Kearns, ladies and gentlemen, my favorite human being in the whole world. I say that unironically. I'm breaking the rules of the summit to say that Matt Kearns is one of the best people in the entire world. We'll say something. We'll make it up by the end of the show. Yeah, hopefully he'll be back on next week. But we're gonna roll with the crew we've got because they're great, and we're gonna have a good time. So we had some really fun matches this week. I mean, I don't know. Usually around this time of the season, I start getting like just in general. I don't know what you want to call it, but like I just start getting tired of literally everything because it's around that time of season where you start wanting changes, like cutting all your hair off and making it red. I just start getting just really tired of work and everything. But the Schmoedown has been just fantastic. Every week has been, picking up the pace. It's been doing things that I find really fun. The nuke announcement really got me back in the right headspace for the rest of the season. And then the matches themselves have just been week after week, really fantastic. So out of everything in my life that I'm just really feeling upset about, the Schmoedown is not one of them. So just thank you so much for continuing to put out a good product that makes me feel like I have something to invest my time in that's not my child. I will never be sick of my child. We'll just put that before people are like, she's got a child. Maybe she should invest in her child. No, I love her. She's great, but she's teething, and I want to protest that babies need teeth. They don't. She doesn't need teeth. Why? Anyway, let's talk about the Schmoedown matches. We've got Kalinowski versus Roca. And we've got Bibbs versus Irwin. Honestly, these matches were just really great. I cannot actually believe that Roca and Kalinowski, for how long both of them have been in the league, that they have never faced each other in a singles match before. That's crazy. That's really just bonkers to me. It's bananas is what it is. So let's talk about Roca Kalinowski first, their first outing. Maybe not their best match for either of them. A lot of that coming down to subpar round one. Man, maybe not even subpar. It just wasn't a perfect round like Mike had. Roca just didn't have a perfect round. Not even subpar. It's just not perfect. What are you going to do about that? And then horrible round two from Mike. My heart hurt for him. Like, that was hard to watch, honestly, his round two. What are you going to do? The wheel just screws you over sometimes. He's had a really good run at getting the wheel to land on things he's great at, and eventually that streak's just going to end. And but man, my heart hurt watching him have to go through those classic questions, because those were hard. Those are so hard. So let's talk about this match. There was a lot to discuss. It was so close, down to the wire, and both guys fought through some issues and some adversity to get to where they were. My dog's chewing up a baby doll. So let's have Malcolm talk about what he thought about this match between Kalinowski and Roca while I save this baby doll.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this match was entertaining, and yes, the round twos just didn't go in Kalinowski's way. It's like the wheel has one of its own. Like, the wheel's like, nope. The people complain that you get bond all the time. I'm not going to stop there for you. And the wheel just really felt like screwing over Kalinowski, and this showed that Mike does have a chink in the arm, that he's not one of those ones that can just get any category he wants and run with it. There is some stuff he has to work on.
Yes, I
have no idea what you just said, Malcolm, but they were all good points. Can you give me a 5-second summary? Perfect. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. Doug, what do you have to say about the match between Kalinowski and Roca?
This was definitely an interesting match. And I guess people know what to give Kalinowski now if he gets opponent's choice. It's interesting to see. I guess we see this guy go from someone who becomes pretty much unbeatable to an extent. I even to say that that number one contenders match, he faced somebody right before that happens. You do 2 matches in a row, it's bound to, your brain's kind of like mush by the end of the first match, and so you're jumping back into the second match. So to see him fully fresh, fully ready for this match, and still not pull it off, it's something that I gotta say, any given match, man, anything can happen.
Definitely.
Yeah,
no, I'm with you. I think that it was a bit of a shock that round too, because Mike started out the whole thing with a perfect first round, and it felt a lot like, okay, we're just going to get the Mike that we've been seeing the last few weeks. And I think Roca said it in his post-match interview, basically just like, Mike's come along a long way, and there was no way he was going to go into the match doubting him at all, because he is so good now. But it definitely felt like a completely different Mike round 1 versus round 2. And there's really nothing you can do if you spin one of your weaknesses. Like you said, I mean, people definitely know what to get him if they want to hit him with an opponent's choice. But yeah, it was just, it was hard to watch, honestly, that round 2. It hurt just seeing a competitor that good kind of go down on a bad wheel spin. It always hurts watching a competitor go down on a bad wheel spin, honestly. But yeah, Roca kind of nickeled and dimed his way through round 2, which was smart because all he really needed to do was conservatively get his round 2 points on the board. A lot of multiple choice, nothing wrong with that. He didn't give away any steals. He didn't give away any extra points. He didn't lose the points. He just kind of got to where he needed to be in that round 3. And then, that 5-pointer for Mike. I mean, if you... It wasn't as hard as it could have been because it was a casting question, but when it comes to indie movies, if you know them, you know them, and if you don't, you don't. And I think the majority of the stuff that people know about that movie is just that you get to see Michael Fassbender's dick. And I think that's the general knowledge of what people know about that movie if you haven't seen it. So if you have seen it, you do know that, yeah, he has... he's got one.
I guess that's a way that you can say that pretty nicely. He's got one.
I mean, I don't want to get into talk about size. I don't want to get embarrassed or anything. I will withhold comment about Michael Fassbender's package, but it is a great movie. And has nothing to do with his absolutely nothing. No, it's a great movie. But if you haven't seen the movie, right, like you aren't going to remember casting because it wasn't a huge movie. It wasn't out there. There weren't like posters all over the place where you can just remember, oh, I remember the movie poster. This person was in it. This person was in it. So yeah, it was an interesting question in that it wasn't really like a deep dive question, but just the genre of movie that it was made it a little harder. So to me, wasn't too hard, but I have seen the movie. So, it takes away some of the difficulty, but oh well. And no more Mikey 3 belts, at least this season. But, I think 3 belts would really ruin the aesthetic, don't you?
I mean, where would you put it?
Around your waist, I would assume, right? I mean,
depending on who you're talking about, it's not an actual belt.
Well, I mean, it's not going to hold up a pair of trousers, but
I mean, it might if you're in Texas. I don't know.
I mean, it could just be a giant buckle.
That's a callback.
I don't know what that's a callback to.
I believe the match that we're about to talk about.
Oh, well, that's her. Okay, well, spoilers. We haven't talked about that yet.
It's in the conversation. It's between Mark and Brad.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. But yeah, so we had it was just a good match. It was hard seeing Mike's second round, but back to back, that's all you really want from 2 guys of this caliber, right? You just want a match that goes down to the last question, and it absolutely did. And the next time we see these guys play each other will be in Orlando for the team belt. So that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait to see these guys go head to head. Now there's a little bit more fire to that rivalry. So hopefully we'll get some real juicy talk before the match starts, or hopefully will be a little bit of fire thrown around between Mike and Roca. You never know. Probably not. Mike seems like a nice guy. Thank you. And then based on the way Roca played and the way Mike played, if that's how it carries over, I could see this as possibly the time where the Founding Fathers could take advantage of it and get that belt. But Mike is a wild card, man.
My only question is, did he get in his head?
I don't know. I don't know that you could get in either of their heads the way that yeah, I mean,
less Roca getting into his head. I'm talking about Mike getting into his own head with the defeat.
Maybe.
Because that's happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and Mike's also recovering from surgery, so that's hard too.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Roker got into Mike's head a little bit that he spun the wheel just recklessly, not as sort of meticulously that it would normally do. So
Yeah.
I know Roker did make the comment about, oh, you'll probably get Bond again or something.
Yeah, and Mike had a really lucky match before this one with Bond, so it's about time that the luck kind of runs out a bit. Even it's hard to say like he's only winning because of luck, because he absolutely isn't, because that first round was really, really good, and so I don't want to walk away from this conversation saying that Mike lost this match because he wasn't good. It was just he got bad luck, and after such a string of good luck, it happens. But yeah, so we'll move on to the next match. Bibiani versus Irwin. This to me was the championship. This was like the tournament final match. Honestly, these two guys at the end, Bibiani basically had a perfect match. 25 points is ridiculous. And Irwin was also just kind of basically perfect. It came down to a 5-pointer again, which is amazing. Honestly, this is just such a good match. I've been waiting for these guys to kind of play each other for a while. I think that they were so funny together because they, you could tell that they really respected each other. They respected the work that they did. They respected the way that they played. Biz's entrance was amazing. I loved it. It was really funny. And he just kept the sword on the table. It was really great all over. Great match, great entrance, great everything. Malcolm, what you think about this match? I'll listen this time because my dog's not trying to murder a baby doll.
Yeah, no. I thought this match was down to the wire really great. But yeah, this was just a really tight match. It came really down to that last question, which is the way you want matches to go. Sometimes you get so many knockouts or TKOs, it can get a little bit sort of repetitive at times. But so it's always good to get a refresh when you get matches go all the way to the end. And I mean, Bib's entrance was definitely great as always. I hope Chandru's okay, that he wasn't murdered. But Christian only got a flesh wound, so
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. I think he was fine. He was able to at least get through the match, so I think he's okay. But yeah, that entrance, man, that was just really funny. But I agree with you. I think this match was just really, man, it was just so good. A match like this where it's just neck and neck the whole time. It's just what I live for with the Schmoedown, man. Doug, what you think about this one?
I mean, what else can you say that Malcolm hasn't said? This match was intense. You just basically watching it, just sitting on your edge of your seat, just like, who's gonna slip up first, or who's gonna, miss the quintessential point that you need. Even with the 1 point, that Irwin missed in the beginning of the match, didn't matter. That 1 point would have put him at 4 points. And Bib lost a point during the second round. So, I mean, bouncing off what you said, I like the entrance. I didn't love the entrance. I love the previous entrance that he did. The previous entrance that he did was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Entrance of the year for that one. This one was funny. It was okay. Forgetting that you stabbed a bunch of people and then bequeathing your sword to Jay Washington was pretty funny. And then Jay Washington saying, "Oh, I'm gonna give this to Ethan." And then at the end when he's like, "We gotta be friends now," I was like, "That's a great callback."
I loved Jay in the post match where he's just like, Bibiani murders people every single match. I'm just That was really funny. I laughed. I lost it.
Are we sure that the sword wasn't cursed because Jay passed it on to Ethan? Jay essentially cursed Ethan to lose because Ethan fell on his own sword technically.
Oh man, tinfoil hat moment of the
no.
summit. That's
But
where it is. I
when
haven't had a
did-
good one, so
So the question is, did Bibbs roll a nat 20 to place the curse upon the sword? It doesn't seem like he's a chaotic evil character. It seems like he's like I
I mean, I would say he's chaotic good. I don't. Think
I would say
evil.
he's like chaotic good. It
Yeah.
definitely adds a little, but I don't think he's chaotic evil. I don't
No.
know.
Bibbs is definitely not evil, but I think he's on the crazy scale of if we're going for chaotic or neutral. I don't think he's neutral.
That'd be a fun segment.
This
What
one
a-
we should,
what
oh,
What
for the
a-
off season.
You're
I
welcome.
think, yeah.
You're welcome.
That's good. That's a good one for the off
That's
season.
good.
There's not a huge off season this year, so we'll have to try
I
and
know, it's
figure
like,
out what we want to do in the
2-3
off season.
weeks.
Yeah, it's not long. It's not long at all. It's like, oh my gosh, we really have no time to talk about all these things. So we won't do ranked lists this year, but we'll find something else. We already have one idea we're gonna do. We'll find out. We probably won't do it. I'll forget.
I will.
Just
I
being
run a
honest.
D&D podcast. I'm not going to run.
Perfect. We'll let you plug your D&D podcast at the end of the show, Doug.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just feeling nothing from that show. But back to Schmoedown.
Perfect. Yeah, I loved this match. It was so good. Man, these guys, they're just, they respect the game. They respect each other. They had a lot of fun, like at the desk together. It was just nice to see like a match where, I love a good match where there's a lot of tension and a lot of like smack talk between the players and everything. But every once in a while, I just like to see a match where the players just sit at the table and like talk to each other and have a good time. And this was definitely that match. They walked away both respecting each other, and man, Ethan's record is so bad. How is someone as good as Ethan have such a bad record? So I think a few weeks ago or a few months ago, really, I talked about how Critically Acclaimed was potentially the best team that had just a terrible record. And I think Ethan is kind of in that spot in singles where he's one of the best players in the league, but he's got such a bad record. And it's so sad because this guy could easily have taken the belt if he played this way against Paul. And it's just he faced Bibiani, who's been on his game this entire season, basically. Bibbs has just been almost unbeatable. So other than, when he was beat, but that's besides the point. Besides the point.
Other than when he was beat.
It's besides the point. He's just been playing so well, but yeah, Ethan losing is I think I had him winning the whole thing, but if we had recorded last week, I would have mentioned that whoever won this match was who I had to win the entire tournament. Like, I think that this is the hardest match of the thing, whoever wins this, I think, is winning the belt. Honestly, I think that they no problem are going to win that belt. Paul's really tough, but he's not pulling Bibiani versus Irwin numbers. So it's going to be hard to retain that belt against these guys. Just saying. What do you guys think? Who do you think at this point has the biggest chance of beating Paul with who's left in the tournament?
I think I want the match that started pretty much the bullet train known as the Kid to get redemption to happen. And I want civil war between Shazam to happen because it's just going to be nothing but, you did great. You did great, Bibbs. It's going to be the greatest match in the world. We're going to get a civil war that's just peaceful and nice.
What about, I think that would be really funny. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, I just don't know if the Kid's going to be able to beat Bibbs, man. Bibbs is at the height of his powers. He's so good right now. What about you, Malcolm? What do you think?
Yeah, this is going to be interesting because because Bibbs is on a roll. Like ever since the free fall, he's not been the same Bibbs that we had last season. He's just been standing strong and just
Literally.
and just knocking everyone down.
Also, literally.
Yeah.
There's a secret component to that, guys, that you guys are forgetting. The kid. He teamed up with the kid and he became a steamroller. He saw the charisma and the light from the kid and he was like, I need this behind me. Let's do it. And
he has been on fire this entire season. Well before the kid was even in the Schmoedown. Let us get this straight. This is Bibiani's season. I'm like, this is literally, I mean, you could make a big play for a lot of people this year. Mike Kalinowski for sure. If Bibbs gets the single belt, I'm calling this Bibiani's season because he came through when he started the Schmoedown, and man, everyone thought he was going to be what he is now. And the potential he had is finally just, man, this guy.
This was his championship year, right?
Yeah. So if he can get that singles belt back by the end of the year,
2 times in 1 year. 2 times in 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that out of everyone, he has come the furthest. He faced a lot of ridicule in his first couple seasons with the Schmoedown, given just how impressive his first match was, and then the next many matches. And now, man, since standing, he has found his groove, and this could easily be the season of Bibbs, the season of the Beast.
Excluding the free fall, but how many losses has Bibbs had in singles matches this season? Because I think it's only been the one.
I don't
when he
really
lost the belt.
I don't think he's lost any singles matches. I'm sure someone in the chat, except they're all watching Christian on SEN, which, I mean, yeah, that's fine. We went live when Christian went live on SEN. That's our fault, but I have shit to do. And I can't wait around for Christian's SEN thing to be done.
To be fair, this is the time we normally do this summit anyway. It's Christian's fault.
He's on our time zone. Like, this is our time to do the summit, and he's just like creeping in on our time frame. No, I mean, it's fine. You go watch SEN. That's what's more important. However, this is when I could film, so this is when it happens. I don't care. I'll watch him later. I just won't get to be part of the super chat.
So cutscenes?
Yeah, we're gonna talk about cutscenes. Malcolm derailing the train and then putting the train back on the tracks. I see how it is. Let's talk about cutscenes, because there were a couple in here. We really need to talk about how no one knows who Brad Gilmore is. That's the funniest thing to me.
Such a great cutscene.
Man, that had me rolling. That was hilarious. Just people walking up to Frank like, "Hey, bro, what's happening?" And then people walking up to Brad like, "Oh, are you a new fan?" Like, oh, it was just so funny, and it makes the boat label. Man, that's hilarious. Like
the kid in that scene though. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's so good.
That was good.
Look,
Doug, we know that you love Brendan.
I love the kid. All right, guys. I love the kid.
It's unhealthy.
It's not unhealthy. Other people like people that are villainous. I like good people that put happiness and smiles on people's faces.
Brendan Meyer is what you would call a cinnamon roll if you were a manga or anime fan. He is a cinnamon roll, 100%. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fantastic. We need more cinnamon rolls in the Schmoedown, please. Thank you. I was rolling. And the Brenda Meyer thing, he's so nice that, like, I mean, whether or not he's like that in real life, I'm sure he is. But the character he's playing, where he just kind of walked up and like gave him a big hug, and then he was like, "Who the heck was that?" It's so funny. Oh man, Malcolm, what you think about this one?
Yeah, I thought this was fun cutscene. Like, it's so nice to of Frank to hang out with the boat salesman. Not many people would hang out with a boat salesman to give them time. But yeah, no, this was fun. I've got a suspicion because of this cutscene. I think we could be seeing next season with the nuke. I think that either Brad or Frank or both of them together will be potentially a manager, maybe.
Yeah, I saw someone asking about that on the page, and I'm like, well, neither of them are in LA, like living there, so it would be really hard for them to be managers. But then I guess like if they had enough notice, they could easily fly to LA to watch the match. So it's not impossible. I would say Frank more than Brad, just because Frank is at the screenings more anyway. Like he's there more often. But I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the reason I've sort of it just seems like a random sort of cutscene. I mean, I get that Brad was hosting the match of calling the match, but it just seemed a bit random to have that cutscene as well.
There's been a lot of random cutscenes, though. Let's be honest,
It's true.
lot of random cutscenes.
It's true.
Year.
Like last week's were kind of just like smack talk and stuff, and I was just like, oh, like it's a good smack talk cutscene, but like, did it do anything for the story? I'm not quite sure, but it was funny, so that's fine. I'm cool if it's a pointless cutscene. It's a hilarious pointless cutscene, and if it's like Malcolm says, actually part of the nuke, then that's even better. So either way, it was wonderful. It was majestic. It was an eagle soaring through the wind on a nice summer breeze.
Was it the color of the wind?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I like that. I like that reference.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it was fantastic. I loved it. It was great. Now talking about the next cutscenes, we're just gonna lump them together because they're the same thing. Managers have officially begun schmoozing the competitors to get them on their teams for next season. And I kind of figured with the nuke getting it out so early that this is exactly what was going to happen. It was just going to be managers walking up and being like, hey, you should join my faction. But the players have no say in this. They have no say. If they're picked, if they're drafted, they have to join that faction. So I don't want to say that these cutscenes make no sense, but the schmoozing makes no sense. It literally makes no difference whether or not the competitors like you. If they're drafted onto your faction, they're on your faction. Potentially, there's going to be a manager who makes that a point, walking up to a competitor like, you're going to be on my faction, and I don't care if you like me. And I think that that's what the next one should be. Because I think it fits a certain person very well, Robert Meyer Burnett, or potentially Ken. I could see Ken doing that.
We haven't seen many cutscenes from Ken, not a lot. So
yeah, I've been missing. There was the one where they were in front of the door.
Stipulation. There you go. Can't think of words.
Yeah. I like these cutscenes. I think they're funny, but as to how they are actually going to impact the draft, I am assuming not very much. Maybe it'll impact like the team dynamic afterwards. Like if there's a faction where someone really just doesn't like their manager, that could definitely be in play. Like they could just be like, I'm just going to throw this match because I hate my manager. But I don't think any of the competitors would actually throw a match. So I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. What do you guys think? Malcolm, what do you think about this? Because I'm at a point with these manager schmoozing cutscenes where I don't understand the purpose of them, even if I think they're funny. Am I off base?
Not entirely. I do get your point, and I do think the smoothing cutscenes work to a point. I think this is it. With this, I think each cutscene, I think we're only going to get one per each manager that's in this draft.
I hope so.
I think so. I think these cutscenes are establishing sort of who's the managers involved in potentially who they're looking at, because I believe the one from last week was Jay and Kevin.
Mhm.
Yes, you had
Yeah.
Jay and Kevin, and then you also had Kaiser and Ethan Irwin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. So from those, we know that Kaiser's definitely going to be a manager anyway. Jay's definitely going to be a manager anyway. So, and if Kevin doesn't win the belt, I can actually see Jay potentially snapping him up.
I think out of everyone in the Schmoedown, that Kaiser is the safest player. I say this with great trepidation. I think he's the safest player in a thing. I think that he is the my obvious pick to win the Intergeekdom belt. I'm sorry, Mike. I love you. You're great. But I do think that Kevin is just going to take that belt. I think it's going to happen.
I mean, it depends on what happens going forward, because we do know Chandra and Brandon are snapping at his heels as well. So,
well, I think that Kevin's going to beat them handily, and I say that with greatest trepidation because I really appreciate Chandru, and Brandon is a great friend. But yeah, I think Kevin's beating them, and then I think he's easily beating Mike, and that's really bad.
yeah.
I'm sorry, Mike. I say a lot of things about Mike. I respect him, man.
I mean, but the question I do actually have is, with the managers that already sort of have multiple champions in their faction,
like if Kaiser has Paul and Kevin,
Kevin, because we know that the managers can pick to keep a champion. Will that work for both champions, or will that just be, or they come up with, in addition to the rules, like you can only save one champion?
I mean, I would assume that it is applied to any champion. Like if you have, if Kaiser somehow had singles, teams, and Intergeekdom champions all on his faction, because I mean, Paul and Zipper are in the tournament. He could literally have all three champions on his team at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or I guess 4 champions, but you know what I mean. I would assume that he would get the chance to keep all of them.
Yeah.
Whether or not he wants to keep them all is another question, but I don't see why he wouldn't.
I don't see what anyone would give up a champion anyway.
I agree.
But I mean, if it is the case of they can only pick one, it's going to be interesting to see which one Kaiser would save.
No, he is so loyal to Kevin. Him and Kevin came into this league together.
Yeah, they came in together. They're really good friends outside of the Schmoedown. I just can't see him betraying Kevin that, unless it was an order from the top, you know.
A civil war? Would you say like a civil war?
No.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. No.
And Kaiser talked about all that on our Friends Call to Action thing last night. They did an interview with Kaiser. So.
Hey! I'm like the Brandon Myers of Schmoedown Reactors. I'm nice to everyone. Okay, I can't help it.
I'm like the Mike Kalinowski of Schmoedown Reactors. I pretend like I'm mean to everyone, but then at the end of the thing, I'm just like, we're all best friends.
You just go up and hug everybody and have a tear in your eye every reaction.
Yeah, I'm just like, we're enemies, but I love you.
That would scare me more.
It's great. Thank you for bringing this up, Malcolm. This has been fantastic. What do you have to say about this, Doug? Because this is an interesting point, Malcolm.
So here's my thing. I think these cutscenes could have been done a lot better if you just had it manager versus manager, not manager versus player. Because what you said was true. It doesn't matter what the players think. You're getting drafted. You're getting drafted to this faction. You have no say. There will not be a factionless player. Every player will be under a faction unless they're new, and then that's when you do the "I'm going to pick you up" scene when you're looking at new players. I think it would have been better if you had Kaiser and Jay go after each other and just like be like, I'm taking your best player. I'm taking your best player. And it would have been great.
This could still happen. The season, we have 2 more months left.
Listen,
Schmoedown.
I'm just saying, Christian, if you take my damn idea, I want a ticket to the damn draft. I want a ticket to the draft.
This is yet another Take 3 good idea for a cutscene that will never see the light of day.
He never takes that idea. I mean, we sent him an idea for a therapy session with Bibs in the table.
Yep. We literally have had so many cutscene ideas, and we've said like flat out, you use it, please. It's hilarious. And then no, never. It's never gonna happen.
He's just like the trailer. No cutscene for you.
I think, in all honesty, it just would have served the story better.
Yeah.
I think these are a lot of like throwaway cutscenes. I would have almost rather have had Kaiser and Robert Byron Burnett again, with Robert Byron Burnett calling him like, "Hey Tony." Just get more and more down the rabbit hole. What was the first one he called him? I knew Lou's the new one.
Ralph. Ralph is the new one.
Ralph's the new one. So it's just hilarious. I actually like those cutscenes while they don't hold anything to the story anymore. They're just great. It would have been great to have manager versus manager in the cutscene. And it's like, you can still do what Malcolm says. Yes, I was trying to figure out which way to point. You can still do what Malcolm says by introducing the managers, by doing manager and manager instead of manager and player.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that completely. And I mean, I like I said at the first cutscene with Brad and Frank and everything, like, I'm not opposed to cutscenes that have nothing to do with the story. I'm not opposed to that. I think that every once in a while you kind of just need a cutscene that's funny to be funny. And if nothing else, these cutscenes are interesting. Like, the dynamic between Kaiser and Ethan is so off ball. Like, man, they are so different. And it makes for an interesting cutscene because their dynamic is so different. And then, Jay walking up to Kevin and him like instantly looking like he's gonna fight him, like, those are funny. Like, it's well done. They're funny. They're interesting. Whether or not they impact the story at all is another thing. So maybe we're kind of reading too much into them. Maybe we're just, thinking the cutscenes all kind of need to play to the story when they don't always need to play to the story. But I'm interested to see how this all kind of turns out. Maybe there will be a rule to the draft where, depending on your record or something, you can, pass on a manager if you really don't want them. Because in like NFL, if you don't like who tries to draft you, you can say no, can't you? Like, if you're just like, I really don't
but
want to be
the chances of you getting on a team at that point is like almost impossible.
Correct.
So,
no, I understand. The Schmoedown's a little different. The pool is not as deep. So if Ethan Irwin, with his where he's at and the way he plays, if he literally was like, I pass, I don't want to be with Jay, he's with Jay, I don't want to be with Kaiser, I'm pretty sure he'd be picked up pretty quick after that.
Yeah, my only issue is I think everybody agreed to the storyline. So I think you're going to find people going right along with it. Just because if you don't, that means what they're trying to go for, which is a faction war next year. Yeah. You can see it completely all written. Yeah. As soon as he released the nukes, it was like, faction war, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
I've been wanting that for like the whole year, because this whole year has felt a lot like, the factions are going to just end up battling each other. So I'm glad that they're taking that route.
Anchorman style. I'm calling it right now. Anchorman style.
I love it. What's up?
One thing that I'm curious about is this year for the awards, are they going to add the extra stipulation in the Manager of the Year award that the person who gets chosen as Manager of the Year for this season, that they get the #1 pick in the draft?
That is a good question. And I think that it is such a good idea. Now, Starcher in the chat brings up a question of if the Manager Bowl is going to be at Spectacular, which it's not confirmed because there's a mystery match, right? It's not confirmed.
I kind of have an inkling knowing what the mystery match is now because of the announcement that Christian made.
Potentially. However, if that's the match, then what's the title match going to be? But if the manager bowl is going to be a thing, they could easily do every manager is in the thing. So there's going to be 8. Is that how many? 8?
10.
So they could do 10 at the table, but do it like they do for free for all, where everyone's given a chance to, or maybe they just have 10 people at a table and you have to answer a certain number of questions. And if you don't, you're out. And that's the draft order. Like whoever goes out first is the last to pick. Whoever wins is the first to pick. And that would be a good way to choose draft order.
You either want to go last or first. I'm just saying.
Correct. Well, sure. You either want to be the worst person who plays or the best person who plays.
I'd be like, this way.
What movie came out last year that featured a guy called John who shot people?
Spider-Man. My answer is Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think that's a decent idea. I don't know that they're going to. That's a hard, like 10 people at a table. That's hard if they don't do it free-for-all style. But then if you do it free-for-all style, it's not necessarily super fair in terms of the order.
What they could do is the person that wins it all picks the order.
Okay. Or the person who wins Manager of the Year picks the order. I like that. I like that actually because it adds a little bit more spice to the awards. Malcolm with the idea of the day. Malcolm, you're on it today, man. We need to get you. Like a red phone to call Christian with your ideas because you've
got another one for you.
What a spicy idea!
I don't know. Just like our cutscene ideas, like he'll probably hear like goes through and then just forgets about it.
What a spicy idea, Malcolm! Thank you so much for sharing. I love it. I think that's fantastic, and it adds the Manager of the Year award has been the most contended award I think that there's ever been for the Schmoedown. Like people are campaigning hard for this thing.
Super hard.
Yeah.
Super hard. Kaiser last night was like, yeah, no one can hold a camera on me. I'm coming for you. That great, but I'm still winning. I'm taking it down.
Right. And I mean, it's just so funny because the awards have never been taken as seriously as they are with the managers this year. And it's so funny because the competitor awards are more likely more important because they're the ones doing the work, right? And the managers are there like rubbing shoulders and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just funny that the manager award is the one that is like tooth and nail this year. But it's a great way to keep the awards kind of tied to the storyline, tied to the action.
Yeah.
You know, not just this is their award ceremony. You know, it keeps it ingrained into what makes the Schmoedown so fantastic. What a great idea.
Yeah, because I mean, as much as the manager bowl would be great, if they do all 10 things, it could drag the whole event longer than what they need it to be.
It's already going to be.
It's already going to be really long.
It's going to be like 4 hours.
It's a convention. It literally, the way that Christian's been marketing it is that it's going to be a Schmoedown convention. So it's going to be an all-day affair, and people are going to be smelly and.
Listen, guys, I got you. I'm a fat guy, so I know how to do this. You pack extra deodorant and baby powder. You got it. You're good. Go to the
Especially
bathroom.
if you're a baby. Then you need the powder for more than one reason.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. My question. If the season ended right now, who is your Manager of the Year? Kaiser all day. There is no Roxy in this conversation. Where is Roxy been? Where? Nowhere. Kaiser's here. Kaiser's here.
Kaiser all day. Kaiser, and then second place would be Tom.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I give it to Tom too because Tom.
For me, the second place would probably be Ken and Grace.
Yeah, they're really close, and the only reason
they're definitely up there
is because he's more quotable. Which to me, a manager's main job is to lay down like sick burns and quotes and things. And Tom is easily the most quotable person in the Schmoedown, except this year we have Kaiser, a gift from the gods.
I mean, I don't think that's the only job a manager has.
No, but to me, they're most important.
calming down competitors so they don't blow their head off.
Their most
during the
important
match.
job for me is throwing down a sick diss track, and yep.
I would love to see Kaiser and Magneto on a rap track just throwing down disses at each other. Listen,
Another great idea.
Patreon exclusive.
Another
Do
great
it. Do it.
Perfect. Man, we are like, I did not think this episode was going to be very good because I'm not feeling great. But this has been an episode of amazing ideas. That's what I'll name this episode when I decide to name it, which is never. I'll never name it. It's just not going to happen. But it'll be the summit. We have good ideas. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to do it. But imagine that
unofficially, that's the title.
Use
of the
your
show.
imagination that I went back and changed the title. I'm not going to. Let's make it very clear. It's just not happening. So yeah, we're going to talk about, we're going to move on from all of our amazing ideas to talk about the matches. One of them that dropped on Patreon today and the other that's going to go live on Friday. We've got Brendan Meyer versus Paul Preston. Nope. That's what I said. That's what I said before. Is versus Ben Bateman. My brain, man. I said during our pre-meeting that Ben Bateman or that Paul Preston won, and everyone was just like, okay. And I'm like, there's something wrong. I said something wrong. And they're like, you did. You really, really did. Yeah, Ben Bateman won that match. And we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Use your imagination that I... No.
The same imagination that you're using that our title is that we've got ideas. Use it, guys. You got it.
In case anyone doesn't know, I used to call Doug Paul, but now I'm calling Paul.
I'm not Paul anymore, guys. I upgraded.
It's a
He's
curse.
the new Doug.
He's the new Doug. And Ben will eventually be the new Ben. Yeah, Brendan Meyer versus Ben Bateman, and then Bibiani versus Roca. Now, can I just say that the fact that we're getting another Bibiani Roca match is literally the best thing that's happened this entire season. I live for a good Bibiani Roca match. I live for it. These guys, they know how to create beef out of nothing. Like their last match beforehand, man, they were throwing fire on Collider Live. Like I messaged them and I'm just like, are you guys okay? And they're like, yeah, that's all fake. And I was just like, good, because I was really convinced. And I know you personally. And I was like, are you guys like actually trying to kill each other? Because I'm literally worried about you. They're very good at pretending to hate each other. And I love it. And I cannot wait. It's going to be great. So let's get predictions for these matches. We'll start with Ben Bateman versus Brandon Meyer. I don't know. I really don't know. I want to say Ben Bateman, but at the same time, Brandon Meyer is just so cute and good. And I just want him to continue on being our cute little Schmoedown cinnamon roll. So I'm going to say Brendan Meyer. Go cinnamon rolls for the win. Cinnamon rolls for the win. I know what Doug thinks, but Doug, who do you think is winning this match?
Come on. Ben needs to recuperate. I like Ben, but go chill on your couch and let's send Brendan Myers Saturday.
That's fair. Yeah. Malcolm, who's winning this match?
I'm actually going the opposite way. I think Ben is I think Ben's hungry, and I hear Ben likes eating cinnamon rolls. So I think he's going to take the win out of Brendan's sales. And push the finals match down to spectacular. So
yeah, that.
Why you gotta hurt me, Malcolm? Why you gotta hurt me?
Malcolm is usually the one who goes for the cinnamon rolls. I feel I don't know how to process this.
I mean, Ben kind of has become a cinnamon roll this season.
No.
All right, he's become a. He's like
a pumpkin scone.
I'll give him a sticky bun.
He's like a pumpkin scone.
Okay.
He's a little hard on the outside, but on the inside, he's full of warm, delicious pastry.
Beautiful melodies and warm pastries. Yep, he's a coffee house. Gotcha.
He's a coffee house, correct? Yes, he's a pumpkin scone. It is the season. Yeah, my brain is not processing that you did not go with like the sweet character because that's kind of like your MO, Malcolm. You always go with like the Keaton Marchies and the like the cute, happy people. That's like your character.
I don't appreciate Matt's comment. Oh, that's mean. I want more cinnamon. Stop being a sticky bun. Stop being a sticky bun.
Stop being a sticky bun, Matt. Yeah, I love it. This is great.
The summit, we have good ideas and make food references.
Maybe I just really want a pumpkin scone right now, or maybe not. You don't know. I want a pumpkin scone real bad. Now you know. The next the next match we have to talk about is William Bibiani versus John Roca, and man, I'm really torn, and I'm going to save my take on this for last. So Malcolm, who is winning this match?
I'm trying to figure out which one of these is a cinnamon scone, but I'm going to go with Bibs for this. He's on a roll.
He's more of the cinnamon roll than Roca, so you're fair. Yeah.
He is a cinnamon scone.
That's
what we're going with.
I think that's a fair take, Malcolm. What do you say, Doug?
Listen, I already told you I want Civil War to happen, but I want it to be really nice and really awesome on a live scale. I think it'd be great if they helped each other with their entrances too. They just walk out, just the kid rubbing his shoulders, Bibbs rubs his shoulders, be like, "You got this, kid. You got this piece." I want that to happen. I just want that to happen.
So they would introduce. They'd be like, "The kid, Brendan Meyer," and he'd come out with Bibbs. This is Bibbs rubbing shoulders. It looks a little creepy. It looks really creepy, but it's what's happening. And then he sits down, and Bibbs leaves, and then Brendan leaves, and then now introducing William the Beast Bibiani, and then Brendan comes out, rubbing shoulders.
Yes, it's a perfect entrance. Perfect entrance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I get it. That's
entrance of the year.
You wouldn't even know Brendan was there, honestly.
No, you just hide behind him.
It could be anybody.
Everybody'd be like, "Where'd Brendan go?" And then you
just see fingers.
You see fingers, and then out of the side of the Bibbs, he's like,
"Well, that's a gift waiting to happen." Just saying. Yeah. So, creepy fingers aside, I'm really torn. It's a good thing John doesn't watch our content because I'm saying it's going to be Bibiani. Don't fire me from volunteering for your podcast. Yeah, it's going to be Bibbs. Yeah, no one tell Roca to watch this. He'll be mad at me. I can hear the tweets happening now. I can hear them happening now.
I mean, I think it probably will happen because you don't want it to happen.
It's accurate. Like the one time I was like, "No one tells Snyder I'm talking about him," and he commented like, "What do you have to say about me?" He doesn't watch our show, so how did he know? Someone out there is a snitch. You know what snitches get? They get the stitches.
They get lovely cinnamon buns.
I'll give you a cinnamon bun when you're in the hospital getting your stitches put in from the shank that's about to happen.
So would you be a cinnamon scone for that event?
That's like a straight up that would be like something like a cran raisin.
No, it's a lemon bar. You're a lemon bar.
Sweet and sour. Yeah, that's fair. Matt says
now I want Bibbs and Brendan if it ends up being them to come out dressed as cinnamon rolls entrances.
I love this, and I mean I think Bibbs is well versed in anime, so he probably knows what a cinnamon roll is, and I appreciate that. So maybe that will actually happen. But yeah, my new nickname for I know that the Rundown has their nickname for the kid, the tenderizer or whatever the heck they call him, the tenderizer. But I'm calling him Cinnamon Roll from now on.
That's officially his nickname for Cake 3. Cinnamon
Roll. The tenderizer? No.
Yeah.
This episode has gotten really weird. Yep, our good old cinnamon roll. I'll make sure from now on, that's what we're going to call him until I forget, which will be next episode. Yeah, I have bibs, and I am sure I'll regret saying that at some point in my life. I'm sure it'll be soon. But the only other thing we have to talk about is that the match, depending on if Ben wins, the match at Florida is going to be different. If Ben wins, that match won't happen at Florida. It will happen at Spectacular because Ben is still recovering from surgery. So send him all of your best wishes or prayers or whatever is in your brain or heart, whatever you believe in. Just send those along to Ben for full healing and stuff. And hopefully he gets back to peak fighting condition soon. But his match will be at Spectacular if he wins. And if Brandon wins, then the match will be at Florida this week. So we won't have long to know who's going to be there. At least
Friday.
We'll know soon which match we're getting. So that's nice. We won't be waiting for very long. But that's happening. And then, of course, Florida, we're going to be getting the match, Founding Fathers versus What's Their Face. And, of course, I have Founding Fathers winning because What's Their Face, they're just going to lose. It's corruption. I know who they are. Just don't care. What's Their Face is going down. Go Founding Fathers. Doug, who do you have winning? What's Their Face or Founding Fathers? There's only one answer.
Yeah, no, and it's the correct answer, and it's Founding Fathers. I think Mike got into his head a little bit. I think Mike's dealing with a little bit more than just that. I know Chance is a really good player, but Dan Murrell's live speaks live. Live shows speak for themselves.
Yeah.
And Roka showed up during a live event too, and showed up. So I think with them together, I think it speaks for themselves. I think they're going to be ready. I think Dan has been doing nothing but prepping with Roka, and I think that's why we see the fire lit under Roka again. So I think it's going to be a really interesting match, to say the least. But I think Founding Fathers going to walk away with it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Of course, I know who Corruption is. I think that they're a great team. I think that they're going to pose a very difficult threat. But I think ultimately Founding Fathers will make this the time. It is their time. Insert speech from the Goonies, which Roka absolutely hates. So it makes it even better that I'm inserting the speech from the Goonies. Not literally, because we don't have anyone editing this, but in your brain. Another imagination moment from the Take 3. Malcolm, who's winning this match here? Who's walking away with those belts?
Yeah, I mean, Ben's not the only one that's had surgery. Like Mike's still recovering as well. So I think Founding Fathers are going to win. Like Dan's never lost a live event match. So he's got that on his side, and I think they want those team belts. They want to make sure that that Tom has someone that they can save. So
yeah, I agree, and I think that the reason Tom isn't winning Manager of the Year is because his faction this year has not performed very well since he's joined the Horsemen. Not necessarily any of their fault. It's just how it happens. But if he can walk away with the belts and then he has a really good Spectacular, that ranking of Kaiser Tom might flop. Who knows? We got like a month and a half left to figure out Manager of the Year.
Yeah.
But yeah, currently Kaiser hands down.
Also, I mean, let's not forget Founding Fathers has got everything to lose. Corruption just has the belts. So
that's true. Yeah. True. I mean, it will break my heart if Founding Fathers breaks up. Absolutely will break my heart if they break up because they're yet another one of my favorite teams who will break up. Yet another. It's a long line of the Summit having heartbreak after heartbreak with myself and Matt Kearns. All of our teams have died. All of them. So.
I mean, I have a new team, but.
I would appreciate, you know what, my new team's going to be Looney Bin, and I'm just going to.
I mean, there could be a lot of more teams that will be broken up in this draft as well. So,
so many teams could be broken up.
Break up Looney Bin. Please.
I mean, I hope nobody breaks up Looney Bin.
For the love
Well,
of God.
the managers get the choice whether they keep. Like, I think if it's a certain thing, I think if they're in the top 5, they have to take both
Yeah,
of them.
you have the choice to take them both. I don't think that Looney Bin will be in the top 5, but I've determined that they're my new team. If Founding Fathers breaks up, and knowing my track record, they'll be broken up and I'll cry. So,
Gotta believe.
single believes.
Who are they?
Watching everything I love die.
Who is Looney Bin up against in the team tournament?
I haven't even looked at the bracket. This is how busy I am. I haven't looked at the bracket for teams. It's a good thing I don't host a Schmoedown podcast. So that's all we got. Thanks for joining us when we're done talking James Spence, and we appreciate your view.
Oh no! Just check what somebody just sent us. Oh no! Somebody just sent us something in the chat,
In our chat?
specifically addressed to you. Yes,
Oh no.
from somebody on Twitter.
Oh no. Oh no.
The reaction is recorded live, guys.
Huh? I'm so confused.
Malcolm, do you see it?
Is that fake? Is that fake?
Is that fake over
That's
here?
from May 6th, 2015.
Oh, yeah, no, never mind. Sorry.
I think that might actually be real from the last time I picked bibs. Did they play each other
man.
May 6th, 2015?
I don't know.
Someone
But I
look it
looked
up.
at it.
Because
I
that's
looked it up.
hilarious.
That's hilarious.
That's hilarious. I don't think it's real, but I could literally see Roku saying that. It's been a while since I've had a good Roku roast, so I'm due.
I'm not even gonna lie. Not even gonna lie, because he definitely got me. 110%. Good job, Matt. You totally got me. You are well crafty, good sir.
I knew
Crafty.
immediately. But oh yeah, Below a Hobo wasn't even a thing yet. So no one knows what's going on who's watching the video because they don't see the chat image. But Matt got us. So yeah, that's all we got for the Schmoedown Reactor Summit for the week. It's been real. It's been fun. We got to talk about some plugs, the good kind.
Yeah.
Malcolm, do you have any shows or social media accounts that you would like to plug?
Yeah, I do. Rank 'em on Sunday nights. Next week's episode is going to be top 12 comedy movie sequels. And you can check out last night's episode, which was Shakespeare adaptations. You can find me hosting Bracketeers, continuing on for the actresses bracket as well. I do Formula Random over on Full Metal. And also you can find me on the D&D Transvail podcast, which Doug is bound to plug as well. So
Awesome. Cannot wait to watch all of those things like next year when I have time. I'll just go back. I'll binge everything everyone's been on when I got some time, guys. I watched Rankum like 2 weeks ago, and it was very good. I'm just going to put that out there, Malcolm. I did actually watch Rankum. It was fantastic. You do a great job. Doug, not Paul. What? You have something new. Tell us.
I do have something new. A bunch of fan reactors and fan leaguers got together and we started a podcast, video podcast for D&D. I am the Dungeon Master and it's called, as Malcolm alluded to, it's called Transvail. All you have to do is go search up on YouTube, Transvail, that's TRANCEVALE. It's a basically new adventure. It's a lot of fun, and you get to find out why certain obscenities are called at people, which is a lot of fun. I'm sick, guys. I'm terrible at this right now. No, but it's a lot of fun. We worked really hard on this first episode. It's 3 hours long, but it's worth the watch. So please check it out. And eventually support the Patreon that we're going to release.
Yeah, awesome. I cannot wait. Again, another show I'll probably binge watch at some point in the next couple months. Yeah, I love this idea. I think it's great. I think that it's about dang time we've done something D&D related. So get watching, guys. It's going to be fun. You can find Matt Kearns at Kearns_Matthew on Twitter. Second Look will be back this month, this week, for a Halloween episode where they're going to talk about the Frighteners, which, Malcolm, you know a little bit something about the Frighteners, right?
Just a little bit.
Just a little
Assuming
bit.
you directed it, right? That was the joke. All right, you can find me Smith_K10, the number, not the word, on Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust, even though I don't post anything on Stardust. You can also find me right here hosting the show that you've just spent an hour and 10 minutes watching. If you don't know what the show is after an hour and 10 minutes, I don't know what to do. I cannot help you. There's nothing I can do to help you. Yeah, that's all. That's all I do. That's all I do now. That's the only place you can find me. Yeah, I have nothing else going on. So those are the places and those are the things. And this has been the summit. Thank you guys all for watching. It's been a great one. It's great to be back.